Got a little Colombian Bam Bam for the road this morning. Come and Go has the best coffee. You grind it just before they make it. You should stop by and check it out. Not sponsored, by the way. Headed out to the Ouachita National Forest to do a little exploring this morning. Got Landon in his new Gladiator. We just put the 2-inch Mopar lift on it a couple days ago, so this will be the first time out with the lift in the wild. I gotta tell you, I'm super impressed with it so far. The Jeep rides, I think, better than the stock suspension, honestly. The stance looks really good, really levels it out. With 35-inch tires, it looks perfect. So we're taking it out today to get her dirty and put it through its paces and see how it does. So stay tuned to the end to see how we go. Welcome.
What's up?
What's going on?
So we're still driving the same trail that we found. It's turned into a really nice trail. There was a little bit of a creek that we crossed. It was a really small creek, little tiny water crossing. There's been a couple mud puddles, but you know, you really don't even need four-wheel drive for this trail. It's just a little rocky, but there hasn't been any big ruts or anything to go through. There's some mud puddles, but they've all had a pretty solid bottom in them so far. The Ouachitas are so nice because they're like the gateway drug, you know. The trails out here, there's not really, I've found so far, that are really difficult. They're pretty easy to do for a novice driver if you don't have a lot of experience off-roading and doing stuff. They're beautiful, they're secluded, and easy to get to if you live in central Arkansas. They're surprisingly easy to get to. This trailhead that we came to today took literally, I think, 52 minutes from my house in just south of Conway. So there's plenty to do in Arkansas. It's kind of a undiscovered little gem that a lot of people, I don't think, give a lot of thought to, but it's out here for anybody that wants to. It's all public land, and you know, your taxes help to maintain it, so you got to get out here and use it. So as we're driving through the Ouachitas, we're starting to see people that have been camping out here and not taking very good care of the forest. Just kind of pisses me off. Guys, I mean, come on. How hard is it to pick up your freaking camp fuel cans and take them home? Pick up your trash. There's trash over here. It just, criminy, man. We're trying to take care of the forest and leave things better than we found them, and people just keep leaving crap everywhere. There's an old broken flashlight there. There's a fishing reel over here. They just left all their crap just out in the middle of the forest. That's really awesome. So thanks whoever that was. So we found another little campsite here on this trail that looks like it'd be pretty cool, actually. I think it's big enough. We could probably back in 3 Jeeps in here pretty easily and fit right here in this spot. We'd be able to camp here. It'd be nice, secluded, quiet. This track keeps going on, but it's not marked on the map, so I wouldn't want to drive down it. You know, I don't know if it's a Forestry Service road or just kind of a trail that goes through here, but you can kind of see it. It's nice and wide, but certainly not on the map, and we want to try to be friendly to the forest. So but I think this spot right up here would be great for camping. Pretty flat, it's got a couple little ruts in it, but you know, you could certainly camp here. You could put up a hammock between some of these trees pretty easily. It'd be nice. It'd be a good spot.
Hey YouTube, I'm Wes. I'm gonna kick off today's little comparison of the 3 Jeeps here. Mine's a 2018 JL Rubicon Unlimited, and I basically have the bone stock Jeep here. The only modification we've made. I do have the factory steel bumper with the Warren winch installed using the Warren mounting plate. Have the Factor 55 enhanced link, and that's really the only modifications I've done on this thing. So far it's gotten me everywhere I want to go, and the only thing I gotta say, when you're getting the Warren winch with the factory bumper, make sure you get the one that's has the 90-degree free spool handle instead of the 180 free spool handle, because what happens is this right here, I'm gonna have to make a modification to the bumper to allow me to get this on over to the 180 in order to free spool it. So, and that's really all I got today, so handing it over to Gabe.
All right, we've already done a walk around of my Jeep, so you should be a little familiar with it as long as you're keeping up with our videos, which you should. So really kind of what we're doing out here today is we're exploring out, looking for campgrounds, but we're really testing out the new lift that we put on Landon's Gladiator. So my suspension is stock, but I've got the 35-inch BFG KO2s on it. The ride difference between the two, the Gladiator is a very smooth riding, easy riding vehicle as it is because of the wheelbase and the weight. But once we put the lift on Landon's, I don't want to say abruptness, but it's definitely rougher. It's not as smooth as with the Mopar lift. The only other thing that's been done to the Jeep, we've got the metal cloak bumper, we've got this mini built 12,000 pound winch, we've got the clevis there that we've seen. I don't have any issues with my free spool. I can just use my winch. It's dirty. One thing we did kind of discover though is Smittybilt's manual for these winches say that you're supposed to unspool 100 yards of this rope every month and re-spool it under, I think it says like 1,000 pounds of weight. Basically pull the vehicle while you spool it back up. I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to do that every month, but I think maybe a little more reasonable expectation would be every time you change the oil, or every time you get it out and get it nasty dirty like this, maybe something like that. But I don't know, I'm not going to do it every month, so that's just how I feel about it. We're going to move over and let Landon kind of walk around his new Gladiator with lift and talk about him a little bit next.
All right, so we're moving on to my Jeep. You guys have seen the kind of brief walk around when I got it. Just to kind of introduce you to the Jeep, we've done some things to it since then. I got tires on it. There was a whole video about that and why I went with the tires I did. They're the Kenda Cleaver RT in a 35 by 1050. So far, I have loved this tire. I've had it on a couple of weeks, put about 1,000 miles on them so far. They're super quiet. They hold the road better than the Wild Peaks did, I think. And out here on the off the pavement, they've done well today. I really have no complaints about those whatsoever. As you can see, the front of the Jeep is way different. This is an ARB Bondi Deluxe bumper. It is the most ridiculously overbuilt winch plate I've ever seen in my life. It is gusseted. It is made out of about 3/16 plate steel and is just rock solid. These recovery points, I believe ARB rates them at about 8 tons or 16,000 pounds working load. So you're gonna basically pull the Jeep in two before you break the tow points. You'll notice this Jeep currently doesn't have a winch in it. It doesn't have the fog lights in it. I have done that on purpose. I had a little snafu with the winch that I got. There's a 9,500 pound Gen 3 Smitty-built XRC winch that's gonna go in it. However, kind of messed up the grounding lug a little bit and stripped the threads in the winch casing. I gotta give a plug to 4 Wheel Parts. This is not sponsored, but that's where I bought the winch from. They have an extreme warranty that's kind of a no questions asked warranty that you do have to pay for. I think it costs about $60. And I just happened to get it. They convinced me. They basically told me, look, if you bring this winch in 2 pieces, we will give you another one. So I took it to them, let them look at it, and they were awesome. No questions asked. Gave me a new winch. It's sitting at the house right now. I just haven't had a chance to put it in yet. But I can't thank those guys enough. The 4 Wheel Parts store in North Little Rock is phenomenal. I'm gonna probably start doing a lot more business with them as I continue to outfit this Jeep. But those guys have just been really great to work with. The last thing that we've done to it this week was we put the suspension lift on it. I ended up going with the Mopar Performance Parts 2-inch suspension lift. It's got coils, Fox shocks that are 2.5-inch non-reservoir shocks. It comes with your sway bar end leaks, spring perches, and new lower control arms for the front to correct the caster angle. It's a very complete lift. I was able to find it on sale for about $1,300. I was looking at an Icon lift, to be honest. They're stage 3 or stage 4, but I couldn't find one that met the same pricing. And I have to say, after putting it on the Jeep, I can't see how the Icon would really be any better. I don't have any experience with that lift, but this thing rides phenomenally well compared to the factory suspension. I feel like I could barnstorm down bumpy roads with big rocks and stuff sticking out of them way faster and much more comfortably than I could with the factory suspension. Even though I only had it out once or twice, I've been engaged some with the factory suspension, and while it's really good, it's got Fox shocks on it. These are just better. They're a larger shock body, they move more oil, they've got a bigger piston inside, and they're a little bit longer travel, and it just makes all the difference in the world. I think they've redone the spring rates somehow. I don't know what all Jeep has done to this lift to massage it, but it's truly a wonderful product, and I can't recommend it enough. There won't be any other suspension mods that I think we need to do, because I think this is going to do everything I want. There's a few other things we need to do to get it ready to really be able to camp and live out of it, mostly in the bed, and we're going to get to those in future videos.
As we stayed to examine the area, a protracted conversation broke out.
That's cool. So I did a lot of research on that. But hardest thing to change out, not the tire. It was a suspension component. Come on, guess. You gotta guess.
The shocks.
No.
Springs.
No.
Control arm?
No, you'd think, but no. Those were easy.
You're getting close, though.
The damn sway bar end links were impossible. We had to go buy new nuts.
The sway bar end link.
The sway bar end link. So you got to put an Allen wrench in the end of the bolt. It's got a hex head made into the end of it. You put an Allen wrench in it, and then you got to put a box end wrench on it and tighten it. And the bolts that came off, they came off really easy, but they would not go on the new one. They wanted you to reuse the factory bolts. And there's some kind of weird interference fit thread. I don't know what the heck. So we ended up going and getting grade 8 nylock nuts with a washer, and they went right on with no problem.
Except for the back.
Except for the back.
Which were a different size, apparently.
And went on with no problem using the old nuts.
Yeah.
So
still wasn't super easy, but it went back on.
Yeah. So we ended up making multiple trips to the store because we forgot that we didn't have enough washers, and we went back to get more washers, and then turns out we didn't need the washers. So, you know.
What project is complete without a trip to the store?
Well, so the other thing, I didn't have tools big enough. The control arm, like on the JK, I had sockets and stuff that fit everything. The freaking nuts on the control arms are 24 millimeters.
Big old beefy bolts.
Yeah, they're big old beefy bolts. So everything on the suspension is an 18, a 22, or a 24. Like every single bolt on it. And I had 18s, and that was as Extreme Recon package on it. It had 35s on it, the beadlock capable wheels, all the stuff, but it had the red shocks. Same suspension.
You get the TRD Pro Tacoma, Fox shocks.
Yeah.
You get the Bronco,
Fox
Fox shocks. Get the Gladiator.
The Bronco's got Bilsteins, but they're remote reservoir.
Okay. Fancy Bilsteins.
Fancy Bilsteins, yeah, like custom fancy Bilsteins are really awesome.
You buy your Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, no
name shocks.
No name red shocks.
So I think Jeep's gonna fix that soon. They're gonna have to be competitive.
Jeep, you listening to this?
Yeah, Jeep. Just so you know,
Fox.
Don't be cheap. Put the Fox shocks on there.
Yeah.
I don't care if these shocks are valved the same and do the same thing. I know you guys are engineers and are really smart, but you're trying to sell Jeeps, man.
Yeah, I know.
And you got competition. When you didn't have any competition, it didn't matter. Now it does.
I know Ferraris are red, and that's your heart, but it's time to up the game on the shocks, man.
Game on the shocks. So. So guys, this is Cedar Creek Lake in the Ouachitas, and we just drove to it. It's on this little tiny trail. It's a road, but it's kind of an unimproved road. You don't have to have a four-wheel drive to get to it today. I think if it had rained a lot, it would have been a little nastier. But there's a boat access. There's a big flat area for camping up there. This is just a fantastic place. And you know, again, just like when I came out here last time and found the other lake, the Ouachitas are just spectacular. And they're peaceful and they're secluded, and you've got places like this to come use. You can easily put a boat in here, a kayak, and kayak into this lake. I'm sure there's fish in it, and you could just spend a whole weekend here in just, you know, kind of complete peace and solitude. So really awesome place, really wonderful. Happy we came out today and happy we found this place. It's a good day.